There have been 169 schools that have had players drafted. 169. That's a lot. That's a lot of players. A lot of players. For nearly 3 decades, though, while 169 schools have sent players, there have been 2 schools that have owned the WNBA draft. 2 over everybody else that have absolutely dominated. And we're going to talk about that in this stream because I think it's always fun to kind of talk about the WNBA draft and talk about various aspects. Yes, we will get into we've already kind of talked about the players who are in the draft, who at least I think are going to be drafted in the first round. But in this stream, we're going to specifically talk about the schools. All right. So let's get going. For nearly 3 decades, there were 2 schools that owned the WNBA draft. One sits at the top with 11 national championships, a Hall of Fame coach, and more. They have more number 1 picks than anyone else in the other school. 8 national championships. Another Hall of Fame coach who defined what it meant to be a Lady Vol. How did UConn and Tennessee become the undisputed pipelines for the WNBA? That's what we're going to talk about in this one. What do they do specifically that is different than anyone else? And is there anyone close to catching them? When we think about UConn, when we think about Tennessee, we think about Geno Auriemma and the late Pat Summitt. These were coaches who, in a lot of ways, changed the way people thought about women's basketball. But there are other programs like a Stanford, like a Duke now, like a South Carolina, and even the country of Australia that are climbing in the ranks. So let's break down the top schools that feed the WNBA, who's still elite, who's falling behind, and who might just be up next. All right, so let's start off with the top. The University of Connecticut, 47 players drafted into the WNBA, but it's not a shocker because Geno Auriemma has been running this program like a fine, well-oiled machine since before the league even started. From Sue Bird to Diana Taurasi to Tina Charles to Maya Moore. I actually have a graphic of them. There we go. Here they go. Sue Bird, Diana, Tina Charles, Maya Moore, and Breanna Stewart. UConn has not just sent players to the league, they have sent superstars. Now, this 5 that y'all are seeing on the screen, the 5 I just mentioned, all 5 of those players were first round number 1 picks. Number 1 overall picks, all-time greats, and players who helped to define the WNBA. And right behind UConn, right behind the squad, is none other than the University of Tennessee with 44 draft picks. The late coaching legend of Pat Summitt, she built a dynasty in Knoxville. 29 of those 44 players were drafted specifically when Pat Summitt was the head coach of the Lady Vols. She sent legends to the league like a Chamique Holdsclaw, like a Candace Parker, both number 1 picks in the WNBA. Together, Connecticut and Tennessee set the gold standard. And for a while, it was not even close. But then comes the others. The WNBA draft is not just a 2-team race anymore because Stanford has quietly sent 31 players into the league. Remember the Ogumake sisters, right? You got Cameron Brink. So many players that Stanford has sent to the league. And we're not done yet. Duke sits at 25 players. Baylor and Georgia are right underneath them with 23 and 24 respectively. And remember, guys, this Baylor line includes Kim Mulkey, Baylor, like when Kim Mulkey was coaching Baylor. And remember, Kim Mulkey is now at LSU, and so you can kind of split that a little bit and have that in your minds because, you know, for UConn and Tennessee, it was primarily one coach. For Stanford, it was primarily one coach. For Duke, it was a mix of several coaches for Duke. But you get the idea. And now also for Stanford, if you don't remember the head coach, the head coach of Stanford was Tara Vanderveer for forever. And she was also a huge legend in her own right, sending players to the draft. But one One place that is not on this list, because this list is just of schools, but one place that I have to talk about, the one real curveball, is Australia. Yes, the country of Australia has sent 24 players into the WNBA draft. Right? This is not a school. This is an entire country. And in a lot of ways, it tells you something about the global influence of the WNBA. Right? We've seen a whole bunch of Australian legends do their thing. Right? Y'all remember Lauren Jackson? One of my favorite players ever. Right? Liz Cambage. You know, there's Penny Taylor. So many Australian players who have played in the league and in a lot of cases done well in the league. Australia is a huge pipeline for the WNBA. Now we're seeing a lot of European places send players into the WNBA, but for forever and a day, it has been Americans and Australians in the WNBA. It's been big-time schools sending players into the WNBA draft, and it's been the entire country of Australia doing it right alongside with them. We also have other schools who are doing their thing. LSU with 23 players in the WNBA draft. North Carolina with 21. Rutgers with 21. Notre Dame with 20. Maryland with 20. And they're kind of rounding out the top list. And let's talk about specifically first rounders. So I've been talking about the draft as a whole, but when we talk about first rounders, these are players who are a little bit better than everybody else. Because remember, the WNBA has 3 rounds, which ultimately it really should have just 2 rounds for the draft. But it has 3 rounds for the draft. And so, all draft picks are not considered the same, right? It's about when you get called, not always just where you get called. And for the win part, UConn leads with 27 first-round picks. Tennessee has 21 first-round picks. Stanford has 15 first-round picks. South Carolina, they have been in the mix for about a decade. This is a more recent team that has been getting players drafted, and they already have 13 first-rounders already, including 3 in one night in 2023. Baylor tie with 11 apiece for first-round picks, though Duke has not had a first-rounder since Lexi Brown in 2018. That was the last time Duke had a first-round draft pick. And if Kara Lawson has anything to do with it, she's looking to change that very, very soon. But the list of the schools show 2 things. Sheer dominance in the front of, in terms of UConn and Tennessee. But there are new powerhouses that are coming for that top crown. So, that's the question. Who's next? What school is next to be the next women's basketball powerhouse, the funnel to the WNBA? What school is next on that? Well, it's South Carolina, obviously. South Carolina is a school that has really only been in play for the last decade, I would say. And they are heating up. Right now, they are at 19 players drafted in the WNBA draft. Of course, there's a lot longer to get to where the likes of Stanford and Tennessee are. However, they're getting there because we're seeing top players deciding they want to go to South Carolina and specifically play for Dawn Staley, and how she has built a program into a funnel to the league. Now, it's not just South Carolina. I would say keep your eyes on LSU because LSU is a recruiting juggernaut, right? You got Kim Mulkey, who used to be at Baylor, now at LSU. And so this right now, LSU is at 23 draft picks in the WNBA. But expect that number to continue to creep up. Expect it to continue to creep up as time goes on because we all know that Kim Mulkey is a recruiter. She is someone who knows how to get players in the WNBA draft. She did it at Baylor. She's doing it at LSU. And I don't think she's slowing down anytime soon. Okay? USC is another school that, potentially can eventually get in the mix. Of course, Juju Watkins is likely going to be out all of next year due to injury. However, when she's back healthy again, I think we're going to see more players go to USC, specifically during Juju Watkins' senior year, and we'll see some transfers go there, and we'll probably see them start to crank up in that number of players who are getting drafted. So many teams are making an impact in the WNBA and have players in there. But nowadays it's very different because we are seeing players go to various programs, right? They may ultimately graduate from one program, but they maybe went to 2 or 3 programs before that. And this pipeline to the W has changed in the last several years because it's because of the way that players are considering their options. Because it's about exposure, it's about NIL, it's about player development, it's about system fit, which determines where players are going in college and how many moves they decide to make. But for the WNBA, it's also about international scouting and non-traditional paths as well. The dominance of schools like a UConn and Tennessee might never be repeated, but their legacy is the blueprint in a lot of ways. It is the blueprint. The WNBA Draft is not just a night for dreams to come true. It is a snapshot of power, history, and evolution. And I'm interested to see. UConn and Tennessee built the bridge. Stanford kept it steady. And South Carolina is sprinting across it now. Who will be in the next wave? It may not even be an American team. We could see Belgium jump up there in numbers of sending players to the WNBA Draft. Right now, of course, Australia is the number one, I would say, international country that is sending players to the WNBA Draft. But hey, something else may be down the pike. But either way, I think it's pretty interesting to talk about. So let me know what y'all think. Which school do you think is next in building the next WNBA dynasty? I'm very, very curious to see what y'all have to say. Let's get to y'all comments right now. What y'all think about this segment? Let me know. All right. Looks like y'all are having discussions around specific players. All right, Ty says, back in the day, all the best players went to UConn. There was less parity. Why is everyone surprised UConn has 12 rings? Are people surprised? Are people surprised about that? All right, I'm not sure exactly what y'all are talking about in the comments. Kentucky Rick says, I followed Ryan Howard into the W in 2022, and now I'm a super fan. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Howard's great. Shamika says, Georgia Amore is from Australia, right? Yep, she's Australian. Yep, she is Australian. G-Dot says France and Belgium. Yeah, they're going to get up there for sure. They're going to get up there. GDM, thank you so much for the super chat, says, how well do you see Paige, Enrique, and DiJonai playing together? FYI, my message earlier, Go Pack Go, is a shot at your precious Bears. Oh, so you're a Packers fan. Okay. I thought you were going for the Wolfpack. You're a Packers fan. Okay, well, hey, the Bears suck right now. I'm still gonna ride with my team. Because I just ride with Chicago. Like, it is what it is. If you're a Chicago, like, that's why I'm wearing my Blackhawks shirt right now. Like, hey, Chicago teams, I'm a location-based fan. I am. But the question about how do I see Paige, Enrique, and DiJonai playing together? I think they'll play together well. I think DiJonai and Enrique and really the rest of the players on the Dallas Wings, they know exactly who they're getting as a number one pick. I guarantee you they're all excited to play with Paige. They know what Paige can do on the court, and I think they're all going to do well. Yeah, I think they'll do well. I don't see an issue with that. I don't. I think Paige Beckers is going to have a fantastic year as a rookie. I do, in her own way. Like, it's not gonna. I think she's going to just show how deep her bag is, because we've seen it in college, right? How deep her bag is and how much she can contribute to a squad. So yeah, and also they're gonna score a lot. We all know that Enrique is a fantastic scorer. We already know that. But there was a lot of times where Enrique just kind of tried to put her team on her back and do it herself. And that's not sustainable. You cannot win as an individual player. That's something that has been proven time and time again in college. That's something that's been proven time and time again in the WNBA. That you cannot be successful on an island in terms of actually winning. And pairing Enrique with some really good talent on the defense, like a DiJonai Carrington, someone who can do a little bit of everything like a Paige Beckers. I think this is going to be good for Dallas. Now, will Dallas lose a bunch of games? Yeah. But I do think they're gonna be better than they were last year. They're gonna be better than they were last year, and they're gonna continue to improve. All right, that's my thoughts there. All right, guys. I do thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Thank you so much. Guys, yeah, if y'all could, as y'all are heading out, please hit that like button. It really does help the channel out a whole lot. Guys, I went over my time. The time I was trying to finish was been about 43 minutes. So, I mean, not terrible. At least I didn't go over the 50-minute mark. Anyway, guys, I thank y'all. Happy Palm Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a great rest of your day. Be kind to people. Be respectful. Just rock out, guys. It's Sunday. Get ready for tomorrow as well. Get ready to get back to work or get back to school or whatever you got to get back to doing tomorrow. Tomorrow is the WNBA Draft. So remember, I will be live for the WNBA Draft, okay? I will be live. So make sure to rock out with this channel tomorrow morning as we go through the things that you all need to know before the WNBA Draft actually hits. And guys, tomorrow, join me for the WNBA Draft itself, okay? Join me for the draft. The draft is at 7:30 Eastern time on Monday, April the 14th. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Join me right here for it, where it will be live. We'll be talking through it. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be very, very fun. Maybe in the future, I'll be able to go to actual draft day. But for now, I will be covering it from here. It'll be a good time, so make sure y'all rock out with me. Okay, y'all have a good day. I'll see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. I love you. But most importantly, guys, Jesus loves you, and he wants a relationship with you. Guys, Palm Sunday's here. Look it up if you don't know what it's about. And I'll see you in the next one. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.